What it do, top two? It's your host with the most, Jamal, and I'm back with another video, man. Hey, man, long time no see, fam. Long time no see. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. Your boy really been slacking, but I wouldn't call it slacking. Um, I just been like grinding. I got a lot of stuff going on in life. I've been working a lot, making big time moves. So, um, been out of town on business a couple times. So, your boy just been grinding, man. That's all. That's all I can say. Why I've been gone so long. I ain't want y'all to think I forgot about y'all. I definitely don't want y'all to think I'm quitting because I ain't no quitter. And I love doing this. I'm having a blast. Yes, but your boy has been grinding. Um, it's just a lot going on in the kid's life, man. Like a lot of good things happening. I'm truly blessed. So, but yeah, man, I'm gonna just go ahead and get right back into it, man. A lot of stuff has like happened since the last time I've recorded an episode, but I really don't really even remember the last thing I recorded. So, but let's just say the Super Bowl and the NFL playoffs is already done past us. Sort of, kinda. The Super Bowl is tomorrow, but your boy just ain't been back in a while. So I mean, the playoffs done finished now. NBA trade deadlines passed. Like it's a whole bunch of stuff that just happened. So, I'm gonna go ahead and get back on my NFL real quick. My Super Bowl picks, man. I want to get right into it. It's Pats and the Seahawks. Um, I've got Seattle pulling this one out. Y'all know me. I was high on Seattle all season. They was just absolutely unbelievable in their playoff run. So I'm sticking with the Seahawks to smack the Patriots. I think it'll be a decent game though, but it's kind of wild to see the Patriots in the Super Bowl because I feel like even on their way to the Super Bowl, they didn't play nobody up until they played the Broncos, and then again, Bo Nix got hurt right before. You feel me? He got hurt the last play against the Bills, so it's kind of crazy to see the Pats in the Super Bowl, but they've had a decent squad the whole year. I just would have rather seen them tested, and I think this is where they meet their match. So I got the Seahawks pulling it out. I really don't have a guess on the score. I know all y'all bettors out there got like scores and all that extra stuff. Your boy ain't got none of that. Your boy just said the Seahawks will win the Super Bowl, and that's that. So, um, but yeah, since the playoffs and like rolled on since the last episode, y'all, um, I'm kind of just gonna go right into my biggest disappointments of like the playoffs. Not every team gonna be included in this because I feel like it's certain teams that's disappointing and certain teams that like have a bright future, and we could say that like now that the playoffs are like sped on and I've been watching. So, um, my biggest disappointments of the playoffs this year for the NFL was the Eagles, the Bills, and the Niners. Now the Eagles, I feel like they've had chemistry issues all year, AJ Brown and things of that nature. Jalen Hurts started looking a little shaky in the middle of the season. So I mean, it was always kind of like, I mean, I didn't think they was gonna go back to back. I'm gonna just say that I didn't think they was gonna go back to back. I thought they had the same like a decent squad, y'all. Let's just say that a decent squad, and they could have ran it back for real, but the chemistry issues kind of got in the way of that. Um, Defense, quarterback, like it's a whole bunch of stuff. The Bills is more of a disappointment to me because I feel like this was the playoffs that Josh Allen should have ran the Super Bowl, ran and got him a Super Bowl. Like, if it's two quarterbacks in the NFL, I feel like that need a Super Bowl to change a lot of the conversations around them is Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. Josh Allen had no Patrick Mahomes this year because the Chiefs missed the playoffs. No Brady in the way, no Lamar. Like, I mean, it was kind of wide open for him to win. But I will say this is the worst Bills team he's had the whole time he's been in Buffalo. Since he's been in the league, this is the worst team he's had. Their defense was mighty shaky. It was really on the defense whether they was gonna like win or lose. So, well, I'm gonna say like it's the worst team he's had. So I'll give him some grace with that. But they were like more of a disappointment just because they struggled with Jacksonville at the gate. Jacksonville ain't no screw ups, but Um, I just feel like this is the worst team that Josh Allen's had, and they were a big disappointment because it was kind of wide open for them to win the AFC. Outside of the Broncos, it was new. Um, my last team I feel like was a major disappointment for real, was the Niners. Now the Niners beat the Eagles in the first round of the wild card. Uh, that game could have really went either way, but that game against the Seahawks, man, that game against the Seahawks was very embarrassing. It looked like Oregon and Indiana, but the game against the Seahawks was crazy. I mean, no defense was played. Brock Purdy looked like hot shit. Excuse my language. I don't even cuss. It was that bad. Y'all know me. I don't cuss unless it's like crazy, something crazy. But man, they got smacked though. They got smacked, bro. So I mean, the Niners was just like they got a lot of work to do this offseason. Let's just say that. And on the other side of disappointments, I got my teams that got a bright future, but didn't quite like they really had nothing to lose, and they just had a bright future. So, at one I got the Broncos. It was obvious they had a Super Bowl coming this year until Bo Nix got hurt. Bo Nix got hurt. It was like, New England might just scrape this one out. And even then, the Broncos' defense was so good to the point where it's like they still could have pulled it out. But when you got a backup quarterback who ain't really playing like that, I couldn't even say but name. Like it was kind of like once Bo Nix got hurt against the Bills, their Super Bowl chances went just out the window. But yeah, the Broncos got a lot of they got a bright future, most definitely. Next, I've got the Bears. The Bears had nothing to lose really all season. They probably should have beat the Rams. They probably should have beat the Rams. That game was crazy. Caleb Williams made a big play at the end. But then again, the Rams is just the Rams. So, but the Bears really have nothing to lose. I think they got a bright future ahead. All the changes they made have been excellent in the past year or so. So they have nothing to lose. The Bears salute. Next is the Jacksonville Jaguars. They had the wild card game against the Bills. I went to the bar and watched that with my cousin. That game was a pretty good game. Trevor Lawrence just had to make a play at the end, and he kind of tricked, but that's just the inexperience he's had in the league. So I still think the Jags are building in the right direction. I think that they did a really good job, even though they lost. Like that lady said at the end of the season interview to coach, hold your head up. I think the Jaguars are something not to be played with in the future. So, I mean, a lot of stuff happened between now and next season, but I think the Jags will be a terror in the AFC for a long time. My last team that I feel like made the playoffs and has a bright future is the Carolina Panthers. Man, I was going to your boy was going to Arizona for a conference, so I watched that game on the plane, and I felt like the Panthers should have beat the Rams. They should have beat the Rams, but they were just a little bit more inexperienced. And that game was very tight, so it really was theirs to just to just test the way they was going. So I really didn't feel like they should have been in the playoffs in the first place. But that game showed me otherwise. I was wrong. I think the Panthers have looked a lot better to finish the season. They had a couple key wins this year that helped them get into the playoffs in the first place. And a lot of things happened in their division that helped them get into the playoffs. But when they got the Rams in the first round of the wild card, I was like, man, the Rams gonna smack them. They gonna this, that, and the third. And no, they held their ground. They did what they supposed to do in their at home field. But it was It was the Rams once again. The Rams. But the Panthers are going in the right direction. I think they're finally getting Bryce Young aligned. That is a good thing for them because they need that because he's been running for his life, like Mahomes was in the Super Bowl a few years ago. But yeah, I think the Panthers have a very bright future, y'all. Since the playoffs had washed on, there's been a lot of coaching changes in the NFL too. I want to go into these, like, just talk about that for a little bit. Let me see. I got it up right here. All right. I think the biggest thing for me and the biggest shocker to me was probably Tomlin stepping down. I feel like Pittsburgh was kind of like, not even kind of, they were a quarterback away from being fine. That was their biggest problem over the last few years. They didn't have a quarterback, and somehow Mike Tomlin was so great of a coach to the point where they can scrape out wins, still never have a losing season, and, just find a way to win. He had an old Aaron Rodgers this year. Aaron Rodgers just old. Let's cue the buck. He done blew his Achilles a few years back. He don't got the same quickness of rolling out the pocket, making plays and stuff like that. But I mean, Father Time is undefeated, except if you're Braun. Told me he had an old Aaron Rodgers, but him stepping down after the fantastic and legendary coaching career he's had, it's just a test that he knows it's time to go. But I sure love to my Virginia, man. But the Steelers organization in general, I feel like they could have found a better coach than Mike McCarthy. Now, we know Pittsburgh is not an organization that fires coaches, like talking about it. They've had 3 coaches in the last 60 years. Before a time, and the last coach was Bill Cowler. And Cowler was there for 20-some years his damn self. So, the Mike McCarthy hire for me was like, as a Cowboys fan, as a Packers fan, probably, you know what I'm saying? I just feel like it was a mediocre hire. And I think this might be the start of Pittsburgh breaking that streak of having great coaches for 20 years at a time. It's very mediocre. Mike McCarthy has won Super Bowl. He beat Tomlin in that one Super Bowl. But I don't know if I was Pittsburgh, I don't know if I really want to hand him the reins for 20 years since y'all don't fire coaches like that. The Raiders fired Pete Carroll. They got Clint Kubiak. I don't really know too much about him, so I really can't speak on him. But moving on from an old Pete Carroll who's been coaching forever, yeah. I mean, just the Raiders are a quarterback away too from breaking through once again. A lot of draft boards had them projected as the number 1 pick, or at least top 2. Well, don't they got a top pick? I might be wrong, y'all. I'm sorry. But regardless, I don't know if Mendoza is going to be the answer to their prayers. Which is another conversation for another day because I don't really know how I feel about Mendoza as a quarterback. But yeah, they new coach, so better than the old Pete Carroll. Let's just say that. The Giants fired their coach and hired John Harbaugh. I think that is fantastic for them. Harbaugh is not a bad coach. He's got Super Bowl. So, I mean, a lot of these coaches have like maybe 1 Super Bowl max. If we talking like between the last 2 coaches I was just talking about, McCarthy has 1 and Harbaugh got 1. But I liked him being hired for the Giants. I feel like he'll take the Giants to new heights, which is not good for my Cowboys. But they over the last few years they've been building piece by piece, taking their time. So Harbaugh can probably bring that all together. He can probably do better with a quarterback like Jackson Dart than Lamar Jackson. So I think that's a pretty great hire. Um, Jeff Havley is now the coach of the Miami Dolphins. McDaniel was on his way out. We all been talking about that for a long time. Um, I don't really know too much about him, really. I mean, y'all, I mean, I just don't know too much about him, so I can't really speak on it. But he's got to be better than McDaniel, and we're gonna find out. Was it a Tua issue or was it a McDaniel issue? All right. Next, the Browns got Tom Monken, way better than Stefanski. I think he's gonna do a lot better with Shador and putting his trust in Shador than Stefanski. Stefanski was just a butt. Like, let's keep it real now. He didn't want to see Shador win. He didn't really know which quarterback he wanted, which is a tricky thing to have to deal with. But I mean, I don't really think the Browns need another quarterback. I think Shador just needs more reps, and a better coach. So it's very obvious from the first meeting of Shador and Monken that he's trusting Shador. So just gonna run with it. So the Browns really got nothing to lose here because they suck anyway. But yeah, the Bills fired their coach. Yeah, we kind of seen that one coming. Joe Brady got promoted from OC. I think they just figure out how he wants to go about defense because that's their biggest issue right now. Your offensive coordinator, your head coach, it's usually not a bad thing, but I feel like defensive coordinators can figure out offense a lot more, like just as easy, if not better than defensive coordinators who become head coaches and figure out the offense. So, yeah, I mean the Bills just got they got more things to figure out in free agency um than on offense. But that's definitely the worst team Josh Allen's had. Like I said earlier, Joe Brady, you need to just figure out the defense and y'all make some moves in the offseason. The Ravens fire Harbaugh. Although Lamar was hurt this year, Harbaugh has kind of been underwhelming as a coach for the Ravens in the last few years. I think if Mark Andrews would have caught that pass, not this season, but this past season, when they choked once again, it would be a different story. But Jesse Minter's a new coach. Came from the Chargers as from defensive coordinator. I don't think he's a bad coach. I think that's a great pick for the Ravens. He just got to figure out what he want to do with Lamar and how to make Lamar better. And the Falcons. Yes, y'all, the Falcons hired Stefanski after they fired their coach. I kind of like don't really like Stefanski, but I feel like he can figure out what to do with Michael Penix. That's if he stay out his own way. Stefanski stay out his own way, he'll be fine. But yeah, he's new Falcons coach. And Matt LaFleur is the new coach of the Cardinals. I love that for the Cardinals because Lord knows they need a better coach and to figure out what they really want to do with Kyler Murray. But I think LaFleur is a good coach to unlock Kyler Murray potentially. So, yeah, I mean, the Cardinals ain't really got nothing to lose. And yeah. So that's like the crazy coaching change in the league. But yeah, y'all, your boy felt like those are the biggest disappointments. Teams got the brightest future. I got the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. Now we're gonna move on to the NBA. Now, Lord have mercy. The NBA has been, man, I'm struggling to find the words put together. Crazy, insane, ridiculous, a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, like the trade deadline just passed. So I'm gonna just go ahead and jump right into that. All-star selections was made. A lot of stuff has just transpired in NBA season 2. So I'm gonna just go ahead and hop right into it. before the trade deadline, the major moves started on the 1st of February. The Bulls got Sarge. Was the first trade, and then they cut Javon Carter. The Cavs got Keon Ellis and Schroeder from Sacramento, and they sent DeAndre Hunter to Sacramento. Like I said, Sacramento just got Hunter, and for Keon Ellis and Schroeder. The Bulls got Mike Conley, a 3-team deal from Detroit. And they also got Jaden Ivey. The Pistons ended up getting Kevin Huerter and Sarge in the long run because the Bulls decided they want to trade Sarge to Detroit for Ivey and Mike Conley from Minnesota. So Sarge ended up in Detroit, which was the 3-team deal. First real big trade or crazy trade was the Grizzlies trading Jaren Jackson, Jock Landale, and John Conchar, Vince Williams Jr. to I'm sorry, I'm kind of like reading this as I go to because it's just so much. I can't remember all the details, and I want to make sure I get y'all the full details too. But they sent them to Utah for Taylor Hendricks, Walter Clayton Jr., Georges Niang, and Slow-Mo, and a few picks. The Bulls traded for Colin Sexton for Mike Conley and Kobe White, but I think Mike Conley's gonna get bought out by the Hornets. Back to the Jaren Jackson trade real quick. I think, well, I'll come back there. I'm sorry. The Cavs got Harden from the Clippers, and they sent Darius Garland for a few draft capital. The Sixers sent Jared McCain to the Thunder for a pick. Well, for the 2026 first round and 3 second-round picks. Oh, my bad. As we go on, this comes down to the trade deadline on Thursday the 5th. The Lakers traded Gabe Vincent for Luke Kennard. Boston got Vucevic from Chicago for Simons. Dalen Terry got traded to New Orleans for Alvarado. Alvarado is a New York Knick. Rob Dillingham got traded to the Bulls as well for Desumu and Julian Phillips. I think this is the craziest trade of them all. Anthony Davis, D'Lo, Dante Exum, Jaden Hardy go to the Wizards for A.J. Johnson, Chris Middleton, Marvin Bagley, and a few picks. And the Wizards didn't give up their first round for this year. The Warriors traded Tracy Jackson-Davis to Toronto. The Warriors also got Porzingis from Atlanta. The Pacers got Zubats, and they traded Mathurin and Isaiah Jackson to the Clippers. I already said the Lakers got Luke Kennard. Cole Anthony and Amir Coffey got traded to Phoenix. I didn't hear about this one. They got traded to Phoenix for Nigel Hayes Davis. Here go again about the Desumu trade and Rob Dillingham. The Knicks got Alvarado. Charles Bassey signed with the Sixers. The Thunder ended up cutting Mason Plumlee. The Cavs traded Lonzo Ball to Utah for Chris Boucher. And then they ended up cutting Lonzo and Chris Boucher. Save some bread. Chris Paul got traded to the Raptors from the Clippers, and then they got Trace Jackson-Davis through Golden State as well. Then the Hornets ended up waiving Pat Connaughton and Mike Conley. They got Malachi Branham. It said Tyus Jones to Dallas as part of the 3-team deal. So, there was a lot of trades going on. I'm gonna just hop into like what I feel like was the biggest and most impressive trades. Also, what do I think about some of these trades? I think the first real trade that caught my attention was the Jaren Jackson trade. Jaren Jackson's going to Utah. I like what Utah's doing over there. Danny Ainge know what he's doing and up in that front office. He did the same thing in Boston. Now it's time to figure out what he's going to do in Utah. And that was the first major thing he's done since getting them marketing. The Jaren Jackson trade for Memphis just kind of solidified that Ja Morant is on his way out next. The Grizzlies are kind of loaded, and they are not loaded at all, y'all. My bad. They're just trying to figure out how they're gonna go about this rebuild. So they need Ja Morant to have a lot more value because the Jaren Jackson value was horrible. From the Grizzlies standpoint, let's just say that. But yeah, the Jaren Jackson trade really just said that the Grizzlies are looking to move Ja. Ja just don't have any value right now, so he's gonna have to suffer for the rest of the season and suck it up. All right. Harden to the Clippers was another one. I think the Cavs are like in win now mode, so Harden wants to win. He ain't got a ring. I don't really like. I'm kind of indecisive how I feel about this, but I mean, James Harden is better than Darius Garland. Let's be real. I think this trade could take them over the top, and I think in them getting Harden, that's what really made them want to trade Lonzo. Oh, excuse me. So yeah, I kind of like the Cavs getting Harden. That gives them more pull. So if Brian was going to free agency next year, let's just say, he can go back to Cleveland, sign for a vet minimum, get him another ring, finish his career in the land. So, I mean, that's not a bad trade. That's not a bad trade. It's not a bad trade. Jared McCain going to Oklahoma City. I think OKC sees something that I don't, because they got a bunch of picks. The Sixers probably was more interested in the picks than anything. And I think they're fine with guard play in terms of Maxey, Quentin Grimes. So I think Philly's kind of like was trying to figure out how they can win now. But yeah, OKC probably got a steal once again, because maybe I'm missing something with Jared McCain. But last year he was hooping, so I don't blame him for going to get him. But Gabe Vincent trade for the Lakers. I know y'all probably seen that little viral video of Bron head nod about Gabe Vincent. More than likely, he wanted Gabe Vincent gone. He's gone. But the Lakers got some more shooting than Luke Kennard, so it'll be interesting to see Luka with a little bit more shooting and Bron with a little bit more shooting too. I think one of the best trades made is Boston going to get Vucevic. Vucevic is a little slow, but Vucevic is the next close thing to Porzingis. And for the time being, even though Boston is winning still somehow, and Jaylen Brown is balling, and I mean, they just don't have Tatum, they're kind of like reloading for the future once again. So when Tatum comes back healthy, they'll basically have essentially the same team they won in 2024 with. So I think that was a major steal. I hate that they had to give up Simons, because I did like Simons in Boston, but I like Vucevic in Boston more. If they want to win, that was a move they should have made, and they made it. The Vucevic deal was a steal for Boston. Now I want to talk about the Wolves and the Bulls trade. I feel like that kind of cleared the way for the Wolves to try to go after Giannis a little bit more, with a few different things. They still need a guard, but they got Desumu, who's not a bad guard, but they just need some more. They just need to make way for Giannis if they really gonna try to go get him, and I think that's what they were doing by trading Rob Dillingham and Conley. Getting rid of those contracts. I don't think they had crazy contracts, but just getting rid of them. The Warriors going to get Porzingis will be interesting to see, because they got a big man. They never really have had a big man in the Steph Curry era outside of Andrew Bogut, but now they got a big man that can shoot. Now all they need Porzingis to do is stay healthy. and it'll be interesting to see. The Pacers getting Zubats. I think that's a good trade since they lost Miles Turner and they weren't really that big. They had to lose Matherin though. That kind of hurt because Matherin, that boy, nice. If you ask me, but they needed a big more than anything. So I mean, Zubats is not a bad big, very quality big man. None really more to say about that. I think my sleeper trade was Alvarado going to the Knicks for Dalen Terry. Alvarado, New York kid. Just scrappy, tough nose, passionate basketball player. I love Alvarado. I love watching him play. Like I love watching him play when he was in New Orleans. It's gonna be nice to see him just in the garden. And then they've got some defense now, so that's gonna be cool to see. And I think the trade of the whole deadline would be Anthony Davis going to the Wizards with D'Lo and Dante Exum and Jaden Hardy. And the Wizards just getting rid of Middleton, Marvin Bagley, and AJ Johnson, and future draft picks. Reason why I think that's the best is because in the last month, since 2026 has started, they got Trae Young. Trae Young was who they were planning to build around, and I mean the Wizards' young core was already starting to figure it out. So like they've been playing for a few years together, suck for a few years together, but they've been getting run. So it's different when you've been getting run, even though you suck. A lot of teams tend to go up like that. That's how OKC was. That's how the Jazz have been for a couple years, and that's how the Wizards have been for the last few years since they got rid of Beal. But yeah, Anthony Davis trade value was really low. Wendy said he didn't think they was going to probably get any more than what the Wizards was able to give them. So I mean, that was like a major thing for them to go get Anthony Davis because Trae Young has a really good big man around him now, and the Wizards have built more for Trae Young in a few weeks than the Hawks have in 7 years. So yeah, it's going to be exciting to see. The Wizards really did not give up nothing. I think that's the biggest part about this trade that makes it seem like they're going to be a problem because they are going to be a problem. If I'm the Wizards, I'm shutting Anthony Davis down, which they just did, and Trae Young's going to sit down for the rest of the year, come back next year fully healthy, be tanked for the rest of the year. And the pick for this year is the next biggest thing in that trade too. Like I didn't give up too much of my young core. I only gave up AJ Johnson. We could lose Middleton and Bagley. Middleton's old. Bagley just, kind of mid. But the fact that they still kept the 2026 first round pick, that's a projected top 5 pick. That's just GM genius. That's just GM genius, bro. Cause man, like I still don't know how they was able to finesse that, but the fact that the Mavs took a bunch of nothing to let Anthony Davis go, I really wondered like what the Mavs was going to do with Kyrie. I didn't really want the Mavs to trade Davis to start, just because I feel like they really ain't had a lot of run with Kyrie and AD. AD's been playing, but he's been hurt on and off, and he stays hurt. So I'm glad the Wizards are shutting him down. But we got to convince Anthony Davis to stay in DC. He does have 3 years left on his deal, but they got to convince him to stay because this team, Wizards, will be a problem. Next year, they will be a problem. And I think AD is going to want to stay, but AD just has to be healthy and stop wearing low-top shoes. Stop wearing low-top shoes. But yeah, like, that's probably my biggest thing from the trade deadline. I mean, the Chris Paul trade, the Clippers sent him home, so he'll get a chance to really finish his career. It's kind of dope to see. But this trade deadline was interesting. I think the next thing I want to talk about was the fact that Giannis didn't get traded. I feel like the places Giannis wanted to go, he wanted to go to the Knicks or the Heat, and the Warriors, one of those teams. I think they trying to send him to Miami. I think Miami doesn't have enough things they can offer the Bucks at this current moment. Enough picks to get Giannis. So the Heat will have more. They'll have more assets come the summer. I don't think the Knicks really wanted to blow their team up for Giannis, but they was probably pursuing Giannis very heavily. The Warriors had to make the trade now because they probably won't be able to do it in free agency. So Giannis will be probably going in the summertime, but I think that'll be crazier for that time period because there's really nothing going on. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see like where he goes and all that stuff. But I think he's fine playing it out in Milwaukee, but he's been sitting with a calf injury recently, so I think he needs to get healthy and get his mind together. And once he do that, he'll be fine. But me personally, I want Giannis to go to Miami. I feel like if he wants to win, he'll go to Miami. That's a tough nose franchise. Pat Riley's still there. Spo. And that's just an organization that's known for, getting the best out of players, like working hard and stuff like that. So I think that's where Giannis would want to be. And also Miami is a major market on the East Coast. It's the next biggest to New York that's on the coast. And it's a free agent destination that players want to come play in Miami. That warm weather, the sun, all that stuff plays a role, like when talking about free agency and stuff like that. So, I personally want to see him in Miami. That's that for that. We'll go ahead into my top 5, man. For the NBA, this is going into week 16 now, y'all. Week 16. Week 16, man. So, at 1, I got the Thunder. Thunder figuring it out. They've been a little bit hurt, but they're not gonna get the Warriors record, which is okay, but they still won. At the 2 spot, it's Detroit Pistons. They're a problem, and they ain't ducking no smoke. So get out the way if you ducking, because they coming to eat like they not running, y'all. I mean, man. Anyways, at 3 I got the Spurs. The Spurs have been a problem all season. Wemby is in their stride. They've been healthy. They beat the Thunder almost 4 times already. As many times they played through the Cup tournament and all that. So there'll be a problem if they ever run into the Thunder in the playoffs. At 4 I got Denver. Jokic is just dominating. Jamal Murray's an all-star. Yep, I got Denver at 4, and Boston is 5. Boston is 5. I'm excited that Jaylen Brown is really keeping them afloat while Tatum's gone. I don't think Tatum needs to come back this year either. I think everybody that's hurt just need to get their body together, get their mind right for next season. The Celtics still winning without Tatum. That's a major thing. That's a major thing to accomplish. It's a major thing for Jaylen Brown. Just cause, man. But yeah, and I want to put an honorable mention. I don't do honorable mentions because it's just my top 5. But honorable mention, I'm going to put the Hornets on there. I don't think the Hornets are top 5 in the league. But recently they on a tear, 8-game win streak. That ain't happened in a while. But yeah, I feel like they just deserve to be recognized because they finally hooping. So, but yeah, that's my top 5, man. That's that, man. I want to apologize to y'all for me not being able to post no episodes. Like I said at the beginning, your boy has been busy, making moves, just adulting, man. So I still love talking about sports. I've had a blast just talking about the trade deadline and the NFL just today because, I mean, it's been so long since I done did an episode, but I'm trying to get back at it, trying to continue to do what I love to do, man. And that's my cue to end this podcast. So, if nobody told you they love you today, I love you. That means that I'm going to catch you on the flip, man.